cloud. So just to reiterate, the whole point of this was, we were saying it's really difficult for us to actually talk about our own art and sell our own art and pull out bits. And even in your case, Angel, saying about, you know, talking about your own face and things like that. So I was saying, certainly my easy part is that if I have someone else there, they find it easy to talk about my stuff. Julie was saying she finds it really easy to actually promote everybody else and everything else that anyone's doing. So we thought it would be really useful for us all to actually talk about each other's art. And they would say, it's not a critique, because, well, certainly I have no skills to critique anybody, because I know fuck all about art. All I know is all I know is what I like and what I buy. But to a certain extent, that's what we're talking about here, is how other people see our pieces and what emotions or whatever it gives to them. So it gives us some idea of what we need to pick up on, and maybe, you know, an ICA we need to go after and things like that. So that's the idea. So it is all just, this is what we think. This is helpful, hopefully, to the person. So today it's Fiona. And we've seen her 3 pieces that you've put up, and then also another one in case there's time to get onto that. But the 3 pieces were, they're all in oils, aren't they? But 2 of them are done with the knife and 1 of them's done with the brush.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I want to kick off because I've bought one of Fiona's pieces, or Steve bought it on my behalf because I wouldn't shut the fuck up about it. So I thought it was worth me telling you what I think about your art and the different, and it was interesting starting with the portraits of the dogs, because you've got the 2, you've got the knives and you've got the with the brushes. And to me, I would always initially be drawn to that realism of the paintbrush one, but I wouldn't buy that one, I'd buy the knife one. And the reason is because, to me, that's got emotion in it. And whereas to me, the one with the brushes is absolutely real and absolutely on it. And I guess if that was actually my dog, I'd probably go, oh yes, I need that because it's perfectly him. But in what I'm looking for is, for me, it's like movement and emotion. And to me, I love those knives. And that's why the landscape one, to me, had all that, because every time I look at it, it's different and it reflects the light and not. But it was the same to me the moment I saw the dog. Is it a Rottweiler? Yeah. And the moment I saw that, it's like initially you go, oh, and then you look at it again. Here we go. Yeah. And then you look at it again, and then you look at it again. And every time I see something else.
Got light on it a bit, but never mind. So he's.
Yeah. And I love that different, and it just gives movement to me. And that's why that would always be the one that I would end up buying. I would enjoy the other one, but I'd end up buying that one because it just gives me that much more, you know, I think every time I look at it, there'd be something different in the movement. And as I say, to me, it's almost like there's life in it rather than a still. But that's, as I say, that's me and how I view, and as I say, that's the same why I fell in love so much with the piece that we got, which was with the light reflecting on the trees, because once again, every time you looked at it, it was like it moved, and you had that whole, and I suppose you get that slight relief, don't you, with the knife? So that's what it does for me. But is there any questions you want to ask me?
No, I agree with all of that. I think you know, I'd say describe it as having more energy when it's painted with a knife than with a brush. It just does give, you know, because it's not as precise. And because I started using knives to loosen up and not be so detailed. And yeah, I discovered that I can be very detailed with a knife as well. So I have to fight against that. So sometimes I'll be working not so much on this one, but on a, you know, a landscape or a still life or something. And it's working, but it's just looking a bit too static still, even with the knife. So I'll just take the knife and break some edges. So put it against that edge and just drag some paint out. It just breaks it up a little bit and gives it a bit more energy. So I mean, that's, you know, that's what I really like about the knife work, that it does seem to have more life in it. But it's talking about the two different types of portraits, and also I will still be doing landscapes, because you know I can't go to Kingston and sell portraits that have gone, that, you know, got, and people tend to like a portrait of their dog rather than a dog.
Yes.
I think cat people are a little bit different. Cat people will tend to buy cat paintings that are not necessarily their cats.
And I think it looks like their cat, don't they, or something, or like someone had bought me a picture of a black cat which reminded them of the cat I used to have, and you think, oh, that's, yeah, I can get that. But it's funny, isn't it, how your dog is your dog.
Yeah.
But do you think they're two different people who would buy the brush one as opposed to the knife ones? Or
I'm not sure yet, because I've only done 2 with the knife of dogs. One was just for fun, just to see how it went. That's the Border Terrier, and then I did this one on spec because I wanted to do some more of them anyway. And this is the lady that said her husband was being laid off for COVID and stuff, so fair enough. I mean, she might come back and buy it. If she doesn't, I can still advertise it for sale, and it's also still a good example to show people. So whereas some of the others, like the knife one I put up, which is Rolly, this is actually just a print, so but it's come out really well. It's actually the same size print as in the actual painting, and for just on the wall behind me, if I'm doing a live or something, they look like a real painting. So Lee seemed to think I really should do some keepers to put for that, but I thought, yeah, but this time I spend painting those, I had I think 6 canvases for about a third of the price that I would charge for doing one as a commission.
Yeah.
So it didn't make sense to me to actually paint some, as opposed to get some of the ones I particularly wanted just printed, which, as I say, they came out very well.
And certainly on screen, as you say, you wouldn't tell that much anyway. If it was behind you, I wouldn't know that it wasn't real. So.
No. But yeah, it's talking about, well, there's 2 streams, I suppose, the portraits, or maybe 3 streams, because then there's the building ones that I've started doing because people have asked me to, and the landscapes, which are not commissions at all. And it's just talking about the whole lot and not feeling like I'm being big-headed, or, you know, just, I think it's always that thing, maybe it's being English, you know, you just sort of, you know, you don't blow your own trumpet, you know, and you're modest, but that doesn't actually sell your paintings.
No.
Unless someone just falls in love with it. But
you could start talking as in, someone said this about this piece, so it isn't you saying it. Like if someone comes up and says, oh, that's really interesting, the landscape, you say, oh, well, it's funny you should say that, but one of my collectors said, bump, bump, bump. And then you're not actually blowing your own trumpet, and you can even make it up, you know, someone doesn't have to have said that, but it just gives you that in, doesn't it? As in, I didn't say it. I just, you know, which is just one way, because I'm the same. I mean, just, you know, I go to a certain level and then you think, back off, you know. But
and I think I've got to get comfortable with saying, oh yes, I'm actually quite pleased with this one, or, you know, quite proud of this one. There was a guy on the radio this morning, a musician, he was joining in this Children in Need challenge or something, and talking about his new album, saying, I'm really proud of this one, I'm really pleased with it. And I thought, well, nobody questions that, but why are you proud of that? You know, yes, you can be proud of it without it being, this is, you know, it's not like saying this is the most wonderful painting in the world. It's just being proud of something that you've created, isn't it? So I think I've just got to get more upfront with saying things like that. And it's a really good idea. Yes, yeah, you know, oh, someone else commented such and such. So it's not me, it's someone else. Yeah. Good idea. Yeah.
Because we do that, don't we, when we put up testimonials and things, but we'll do that in person. So
yeah. But anyone else that wants to chip in, please do. This is supposed to be a
Yes, so that's
our
fine.
open
Okay, that's
session.
my,
So
yep, Sammy.
Okay, so I wrote some notes.
Hey.
So I'm going to read them if that's all right.
Yeah.
So it was to try and help you describe your work and sell your work to people face to face. So what I wrote was that the photographs capture a moment in time, whereas your work recaptures not only the essence of those animals, but also their personalities. Now, I don't know those dogs, but the Rottweiler, I don't like Rottweilers, but I fell in love with him because there was something about him and the other dog, but there's something about him that really sort of touched me. And I like you said the knife work. I love knife work, so I think it's the knife work. The other dog, I love the other dog, and it again that painting gives more than a photograph. So a painting, what I also found was that in both those pieces, it carries on a conversation that owner had with that pet, and it's a continual conversation that they're having with those paintings. So that was just the two dogs. And then with the landscape, I felt that the art is not only able to bring back memories, but also continues the story. The landscapes, you're not only looking at the view that's in front of you, but you're immersed into it because you're actually standing on the grass. You're feeling the wind through your hair. You're feeling the sun coming up on your face, warming your cheeks. And so with the landscapes, we're not trying to recreate, you're not trying to recreate a photograph, but you're trying to recreate all the thoughts and feelings and stories and conversations that have gone on about that place. And, I've never been to where you've done that landscape. But for me, I was in the middle of that field and I'm looking up at the mountains and I'm feeling all the emotions and the thoughts that conjure up a story in my head. So I think it's about selling a story to your prospective clients. That's
great, thank you, brilliant. I'm not writing anything down because I'm going to go on the replay and write it down then. So
it's no
yeah,
problem. Yeah, which is the best.
Then I can focus.
Yeah.
I think with art, we're storytellers. That's what we are. And another reason you said, you just said, I think I should be able to say, I'm quite proud of this piece. Cross the quite out.
Yeah, quite, yeah.
Because already you're minimizing it. You are proud of it. But I think for most women, whether we're British or not, we are more reserved and we don't like to blow our own trumpet because we don't think it's the same thing to do. But, we need to get up there and we need to shout loud and be very proud of what we're producing because it's excellent work. And whether it gets sold this year, next year, or in 10 years' time, or it doesn't get sold, you can still be proud of what you've created because only you have created that. No one else has.
Good point. Thank you. Yeah.
It's funny, isn't it? Because it's like we're worried what people will think if we boast too much, isn't it? And actually, certainly if we're having a one-to-one conversation with someone, it's only that person we're talking to anyway. So it's not like the whole world has heard us say it anyway. But we still get that whole, what will people think? And yeah, it's just you in a conversation with somebody else or any, and yeah, people can just walk away anyway, can't they? If they don't.
They're not the right person, let them walk away.
Yeah, absolutely. Excellent.
And I think you made a good point there, Sammy, as well, that I don't think you'd find men behaving in the same way.
No, you've only got to at my stand, obviously Steve's always next to me saying about his lamps, and he just tells people how fabulous they are and that he does commissions and this, that, and we come away from the show, he's had 3 commissions from people since we came home from the show. He sold 4 at the show, and he didn't boast about it, but he was just, I can do this, I can do that, I can do, and you think, because I'm sitting there all day and I hear him say it all day, I just think I wish he'd shut the fuck up. But But no, but seriously though, it works, doesn't it? The chat and the thing, and people. And in fact, that was the other thing, is that at least two of the people who have contacted him since the show were lurkers, so they overheard the conversations he was having with somebody else, where he continually said, "I do commissions," or this, that, and the other. And both of them started off the email, which is, "I heard you say you did this, that, and the other." And you think, oh, it's interesting, why, you know, and yet they wouldn't say anything, or perhaps they even went back to check what other people did and then got in contact. I don't know. But it's, once again, it's not just lurkers online, it's lurkers in person as well who hear. So even though it may be one-to-one with someone, there are still people, you know, listening and picking up. But also, I myself like to buy off of confident people.
Yeah. I think it's also trying to keep the same excitement that you had when you painted it, when you're talking about it to sell it. And it's trying to just keep that, as opposed to, well, I really enjoyed painting it, but it's done now. So
moving on.
Yeah. And it's trying to project that excitement.
I think that's where the storytelling comes in, because if you've got a story behind your piece, you are going to be excited to share that story. And whether you've said that story 100 times or just the once, the excitement's still going to be there. And that way you're putting the focus on the artwork and not on you.
Yeah, you can always start off, can't you? Well, let me tell you the story behind that piece or whatever.
Yeah.
Then you're off, aren't you? And it's amazing once you get into that, how you do just naturally become excited about it, because you've got into that.
Stories.
Yeah.
Denise Duffield Thomas, sorry, come on.
I just want to add to this that for me, especially about dogs, but also this goes for faces too, is that, well, it's for one, the relationship that person, the buyer, and even you as the artist have to that dog. And it's very highly emotionally charged. This is from my own experience. I have a similar reaction to Rottweilers as a type of dog. I immediately would say, oh, that's a dog I don't like. But that particular dog, I looked at it and I just getting that reaction from me that, oh, this is not a scary one. And I'm saying, this doesn't really look like a Rottweiler that I had in my mind. And in fact, I was thinking, is that a Rottweiler? Or is it, you know, I had sort of a longer snout in mind, I guess. But I want to point out that it makes a difference also who is buying the dog. Is it for somebody else? Or is it for you yourself? And then is it like pre-dog ownership or post-dog ownership if it's not your own dog, right? I mean, if it's your own dog, it's fairly straightforward. But, you know, you would be likely to go for the race of dog and, you know, I don't know, just something, I guess, that you could put up and add and adorn and honor your dog. But the other emotions, the story may not be as straightforward about the dog even, but it might be about like who's giving you that and why they're giving you that, and the fact that they remembered that you had a dog of that kind. And so it becomes, you know, a vehicle for talking about a whole nother relationship even, right? So the key point in all of this is the emotion it evokes, or it could evoke, or you could sell to or address when you're talking about the painting. And these are all questions that one can ask of the customer, you know, have you had dogs? I've had forever amazing conversations about landscapes or other subject matter by talking about people's dogs. Just because I always, like at a market, I always had water for the dog. and I always had a dog bone, to give away because I love dogs. And a lot of people started coming to the markets with their dogs. And so I always also included and related to the dogs, which I loved. Sometimes they're much nicer than the people, or it's easier than the kids with the sticky fingers and the ice cream touching everything.
It's a good tactic,
Uh,
actually. Dog biscuits to kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I always ask permission, is it okay? And, some dogs, it's interesting. They told me a lot about their masters. They wouldn't touch it, or they'll look up, and others, they were starved and they wanted it. So it's just what I wanted to add, but I find that it really is actually a difficult subject matter, for me anyway, the whole thing about dogs and also faces. I find it took me, and I don't really know why, but I know it's an emotional reaction, and having a hard time with my own face, and coming to reality and the idea of why this face, why this dog, and then what are you actually doing? Like if you buy a painting of a dog, um, other than the beauty of the feathers, or unless you're into the race of the dog, it's kind of everything that's good about a dog. It's a personal interrelationship with the dog, and they're being kind and being loving, and I mean they can be stinky and troublesome and all of that, but it from the face of it, it wouldn't be something that I would think could replace or get even close to the dog. And for me, like my favorite dogs, the memory, even when they were alive, I didn't really get the idea of wanting a picture of the dog. But that's just me. It just didn't make sense. It's like interact more, take the dog for a walk, or do something with the dog rather than
I think that's
buy.
why quite often people have the portrait done after the dog's passed, because when the dog's here, they are having that interaction, and that's why I think
Yeah,
quite often they think about it later,
and I could
and they
see
want that
that.
relationship back, don't they?
Yeah, and the problem for me then becomes, and I'm sorry, this is just the reaction this morning, and this is why I think it's difficult to sell dog paintings, I guess. Maybe not everybody's kind of like, but then it becomes, kind of what you're used to as a ritual and what you're comfortable with, like a picture of something you really treasured and loved. For me, it's way too emotional to be wanted, reminded of it. And the pain that came along with the loss of the animal. So, but it's similar choices that they give you, when the dog passes. I mean, it was kind of a horrible experience, but they ask you, do you want the ashes of your dog? And I thought, how would, that doesn't do anything. And then I'm thinking, well, that'd be really bizarre too, to carry the ashes of your dog around. And I like the idea of ritual, but, thinking about the dog is good enough. I did paint my own, had sort of wild session about getting all this emotion out about my last dog passing away, an ode to Marco. And it became a wild abstract thing, colorful, and then it was done. And I don't even want to look at that. It just brings up too many memories of the pain of the loss. That's basically for me. And I could see that where there is a careful divide about people that will go with the ritual and will want the picture and the memory. Um, and then the other ones that can't handle it, like me. Yeah.
By the way, completely changing the subject. I love your background, Renata.
Oh, thank you. You know, this is a little sketch that I did on the ferry from Crammon Inn,
Very
and
good.
I decided it looks pretty good. I mean, I could open the window and it pretty much looks the same.
Very good. Very good. Well, so at the
So,
end of the day, we won't be giving you a dog portrait for Christmas. That's up.
thank you. And, you know, I actually had this lovely lady who took care of the dog for a while, doggy daycare, and she happened to be a brilliant artist. And she painted us a picture of him as when he was a puppy, and I always loved it. It looked just like him, but it's still, you know, my husband wouldn't want to give that away, but I can go with or without it. It's all, you know, in here kind of for me. So
Fair enough.
anyway, the faces is similar. I have, in fact, somebody told me somewhere at the beginning, after I did a whole year of this, you know, paint a face a day kind of thing, and get over my initial me faces. Why would I do that? It seems such a foreign thing. Somebody told me that, well, you know, why would you buy somebody else's portrait? And unless there was, you know, you're a famous artist and, you know, they're buying just because you have a piece of art available for sale. And I don't think that's true anymore. I think it's really changed because of a lot of artists have started painting faces. And so it becomes about emotion and symbolism and all of that. So, but anyway, I just, you know, it's supposed to help you selling the dog thing. But I think if you let the people, if they can approach you somehow, or if you tell the story that, you know, like other people said, even a story why somebody gave you or they remembered. And the whole thing about like remembering an animal and what is that memory about, and then what is the good times and what animals can mean, not just the race or the look of it, or, you know. And in fact, you know, I could go on and on and on about talking about animals without actually talking about the animal or that race or even a personal thing. And so you might try that too, to just approach the subject of how we relate to our animals. And people will personalize that in their own memories and then be maybe prompted to buy.
Okay. Okay. Do we have more of you? Julie, you were about to say something. I don't know whether you were.
Yeah, I was gonna just have a couple of things I was gonna say actually. After that, actually, do you tend to paint to commission, only to commission, Fiona, or do you paint
No,
generally?
apart from the two with knives, they've been to commission, and the
All been to commission.
Rottweiler was potentially applied for it, but that wasn't. I was still going to paint something anyway, but I thought, well, if I paint a person's dog who's, you know, happy to send me a photograph and might be interested in it, then it's a sensible.
Yeah, I thought that's what you did.
You know, new project, but normally it's only commissions for dogs. Yeah.
No, that's cool. I love it. I think they're gorgeous. There's two things I was going to say actually. I'm jumping around a little bit. Whilst we're talking on dogs at the moment, I just think you're painting their personality. I don't think you're painting a breed. I think that's something that maybe you can put across. That terrier, to me, I can just see you. And actually, it could probably be any number, but I think it's just a spark in the eye. You've just captured a personality rather than a breed. So I think that can be something that you can maybe say. I'm jumping around a bit. You were saying about not bigging yourself up. What I was going to say is Denise Duffield Thomas. I don't know if you've come across her, but she's been mentioned a couple of times. She's a money mindset lady.
Oh, yeah.
But she did a talk, but she said as a generalization about women, we tend to kind of go up there and we've kind of, she's on a live stage and she goes, would you like to buy my thing? And then go and hide again. Would you like to buy my thing? Oh no, that's not enough. A pen isn't enough. I'll go and add a book and a bag and then all these other things. And she does this, and the whole audience is in hysterics. It's so good. And she says, she goes on, and then she says, she turns into a man then, and it's like, do you want to buy my thing? But it's just like, I've got a pen. Do you want to buy it? You know, and it's just this complete difference between how women approach, do you want to buy my thing, versus how males tend. It's very generalized, but I just thought it was a really, it hit the point bang on, really. So yeah, I can't remember where I saw it. I'm not sure if it's on YouTube or in a paid course or something, but that was well worth a watch, and just, yeah, struck a chord with me for sure. I always feel like I've got that. Sorry.
So I think that's very true about me as well, probably, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, when people come up at Kingston to look at the paintings, and, you know, I'll go and talk to them, but sometimes I just think maybe I should be a little bit more, you know, yeah, I really enjoyed this one and somebody said something about it or whatever, rather than, you know, sort of, or not quite, but if you like it, you know, if you really like it.
Do you really like it? I'll add the frame and I'll even deliver it for free, and I'll maybe wrap it for you. Would you like that? You know,
Joan's got a story about that.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So that's one thing that she was trying to teach us, is to kind of, you know, be confident in your and yeah, proud of what you create as well, which is absolutely stunning. I love your landscape as well. I think it's beautiful too. I haven't particularly got comments, but the one thing I was going to say about them, the fourth painting you put in as well. I can, and this is just something that's come to mind. It's not a critique or anything at all, but I can see with your, what's the word I'm looking for? I've been on a call with my web lady for 2 hours and I'm brain dead. That painting, you know, the venue, the building
venue
that
commission,
you did.
yes.
Yeah, I could just see that. I love the way that you framed it with those flowers in the front, and they were personalised to the people, I seem to recall you saying.
Yes.
But I could see that. I don't know why. I can see it as a style that I could associate with you. As I've not seen other people paint exactly in that style. I've kind of seen commissions of paintings, but the way that you've kind of framed it, it looks really distinctive.
Okay.
Whereas with your, I'm not saying whereas, I love your landscapes and portraits, but I wouldn't necessarily be able to say, oh, that's a Fiona Hooper, because of looking at those pet portraits. Whereas that building one, I don't know, there seemed to be a style to it that I could feel an extra dimension. So just an observation. I just thought, I don't know, maybe something to ponder on. Not that you're necessarily looking for a style particularly, but I could just see if you did a theme of lots of different buildings with that style, it would be quite recognisable.
Thank you.
So yeah, just observations. There we go. That's my
I've got
2 pence.
I've got another building to do coming up, which is only a house, a residential house, as opposed to a grand palace. But see how that one goes.
Yeah. No,
I was thinking along similar lines. Sorry, I interrupted you, Julie. Carry on.
No, I just said they're all beautiful.
Right.
Sorry. Thank you.
No, but yeah, I think my thoughts were very much like Julie's, really, Fiona. That they're beautiful, and you said yourself you like doing the knife painting because it loosens you up, and I love that. I love the freedom of those kinds of paintings myself. But I was thinking along the lines of Julie about, you know, I think we all want to be recognisable as an individual artist, and in some ways, I don't know if you have to, but I suppose in a way, if you want to be recognisable, there has to be a particular choice, perhaps, as to which road you want to go down. In a way, I mean, if it's working for you as it is, it's fine, because I mean, you've got your landscapes, you've sort of got them in different categories, haven't you? You've got your different client bases for different work.
Yeah. And
I suppose you can be recognisable within those specific categories. And I know nothing, by the way. You know, I'll just caveat that with, I know nothing about art either.
But the thing is, we don't need to know about art. We need to know about what we like and how it speaks to us, and how, in turn, the artist needs to speak to other people about it. You know, so you know, we're not expecting anybody on here to come out with like Sunday Times critic type language, because if they did, I'd probably turn off straight away anyway, because it's you know. But it's just it's interesting that, because they are fairly separate. In fact, I haven't put the large wedding venue one on my website even yet, because I was thinking about it and I thought, well, where do I actually put it? you know, I could put it on a commissions page, but the commissions at the moment are more about dogs and some people. So do I put it on there? I did put the coloured pencil one that I did back at the beginning of lockdown. That's on there of the building, but I was thinking, you know, then I'd have just 2 buildings and as in commissions. So I'm not quite
it's
sure.
Having there just as a thought into people's heads, because if they're thinking, oh, commissions, and then they suddenly see that you've done a house in a wedding venue, because like when I left a particular house, I had my house sketched. It was, you know, just because I loved it so much and thought, right, it's just nice to have that memory, and you don't always appreciate that people will do that. And if you see it, so
there is a guy that just does house portraits, or that's all he advertises. So people do, you know, like a portrait of their house. So
what's your passion?
It's probably not doing houses like that. So, having said that, I did a theatre organ several years ago for somebody as a commission, and at the time after I'd finished it, I said I'm never ever doing another flipping theatre organ again, because it's got, you know, it's got 3 keyboards and it's got all the stops and it's got. So my latest commission is a theatre organ and a grand piano on either side.
Oh no, God.
And you said yes.
I said yes at a price, which is twice the price of my previous highest priced commission.
And they said, yep.
And I said yes.
Good for you.
So, yeah, but I mean, it will, because it's going to be detailed. They don't want it as an impressionistic, you know, it's not like, you know, Sammy's jazz players, they're great, you know, they've got movement, they're impressionistic, but for this, they want those instruments in detail. So it's going to be a lot of work. So make sure I'm going to get paid properly for it.
Yeah, definitely.
So something's rubbed off from the course. Yeah.
I can pay for it, definitely.
It's interesting though, you know, and if you listen to Lee and Paula, then people are going to get really confused because I do dogs and people as portraits. That's confusing, let alone adding in landscapes and maybe the buildings as well. So
I don't think it's that confusing. If on your website you have a different page for each type of painting that you do.
Yeah.
But it's just how I suppose it's just how you want to market yourself, you know. But when people go to your website, they'll see that not only does she do beautiful portraits of humans, she does dogs and buildings, and you know,
your website's really clear, the way it's laid out with that sidebar down personally, and I think if it's working for you, then
thank you.
Against what anybody else might say, but.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Lee and Paul also do the you know, concentrate on something initially, and then you can add things in. But the thing is, you've been doing this for a while, so you know, to just suddenly drop something. I mean, in my case, I haven't been doing it for ages, so it's easy for me to go, oh, well, I won't do that, I'll do this now. But you've been doing this and got clients in all of those areas, so I think it's sort of a bit different for you. And as you say, if you make it really clear on the website, so someone comes to the website and thinks, oh, I'm interested in portraits, and so they go there, you know, as opposed to, oh, landscapes, right, brilliant, that's what I saw, and go there. I think, yeah, and then that's all they're seeing, isn't it? But as I say, this is all just we know nothing. It's all just, I think it's like everything anybody ever tells you, you have to put your own filter on it, don't you? You have to say, well, that's not going to work for me, I need to do it this way, or I get that. And sometimes we might even do it our way for ages until we actually come back and do it, but you can't do it a new way until you're ready to do it a new way. And that's just, you know, my.
Could it be painting the story of your life or something? Because the thing I loved about that wedding venue is the fact that you'd put the blooms in her bouquet in the top of that really stuck in my head for me, and I thought that was beautiful. Again, it could be your pet and the quirkiness of your pet, but I'm just wondering if you'd almost have like an overarching painting the story of your life or people's lifetimes or something, and that's kind of your USP, if you like, but you know, whatever it is that's particularly poignant to, if it's commissions you're focusing on rather than generalized off the shelf work. But yeah.
Well, at the moment, commissions are working for me because
Yeah,
it's, you know, I'm not showing the work anywhere else. Well, apart from online, obviously, but I've been focusing on commissions, trying to not confuse my ICMs.
Yeah, I love the story side of it, and I think it's really clear. Personally, I looked at your website and I was like, well, Fiona's doing lots of different things. Why is she not having to streamline? Because I want to do everything as well.
Julie.
Shouldn't say that. Don't tell anybody. I really struggle with this streamlining and focusing on one thing. I really do.
I know.
So do I, yeah.
You always, I was going to say, Julie, you always say, all right, okay, I'm going to get, that's it, I'm going to streamline and this is what I'm going to do. And then you always tell us that you do struggle with it because you've obviously had many areas. But your lives yesterday, where you entitled Loose Ends, you know,
yeah.
And I just I couldn't help but thinking, she doesn't want to give those away.
I'm going to get it running on autopilot in the bottom. I will focus on my own art, but I'm going to have that. I'm not going to cut it completely loose. I put too many hours into it and it will help too many people. There's so many people sitting at home that will love doing that. And I'm not prepared to give it completely scrap it. So yeah, hence that's one of my loose ends. And I'm not going to keep promote, but you know, I'll do an occasional iron painting and then just send them over there to that is my intention. That's what I'm setting up. So yeah, you have to say you can't let go of something when you feel that, oh no, I still want that. Yeah, I've got all the resources there. I just haven't put the actual sales pages up, so I'm not going to just cut them off. And I did private message Lee and Paula, actually said I'm just explaining what I'm doing, but this is the situation, and I'm going with it. I'm going with gut instinct.
Just letting you know this is what I'm doing.
Yeah. So just so you know.
Love it. Did they respond?
Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Cool.
So.
Excellent. So anybody else have anything they want to add?
Yeah.
Yes,
I do. Sorry, did someone else meant to say anything now? I think it is difficult to talk about your own work, and as you say, Fiona, you know, not to be bragging in things. And you mentioned yourself, I was kind of curious that there's a kind of bit of a disconnect between the actual emotion and pleasure of actually making the work and when you're actually talking about it. There seemed to be a disconnect or a separation. And somehow that even although you say you're commissioned for a piece of work, how do you get yourself motivated? What is it that actually helps to bring out the character or the emotions of a piece of work to you? And if that could be thought through and expressed, I think that would add an extra layer to your work. And if it isn't a commission, it's your landscape or something else, what was the motivation behind that choice of landscape? Why did you use those colours? How did you feel about it? That if there are aspects of it you absolutely love, you know, it could be a small 1-inch section. And those are true, but you're not bragging, you're just saying how you're feeling and thinking at the time. It's another way to do it.
Yeah. So you need to just keep those feelings in mind. Yeah, from the commissioned ones, you know, it's from talking with the people about the animals and getting an idea of the animal, and then, you know, I mean, I love dogs anyway, and just putting them on a canvas is just, I just find it really, you know, it's good, it's pleasurable. Sometimes it can be in the middle stage, it's like, well, did I ever do this? Why did I take on this flipping animal? But I think that I think a lot of artists tend to have that, where they're excited at the beginning, get going on something. In the middle stages, you're thinking, am I actually going to manage to make this work? Yeah. Is it going to come together? And then it does start, you know, you keep on, which you have to with a commission anyway, and then it just starts to come together again, and then you start to feel good about it again because it's coming, you know, how you want it. So yeah, you've just got to try and keep those thoughts about, you know, the good bits of the process in my head, to talk not necessarily about that particular painting, because obviously the commissions go and other people don't see them, but to talk about how I feel when I'm doing a commission in general, sort of thing. Yeah, good point.
Yeah, I think that's a really important aspect, as I want to know more about you too. It's like, do you like Rottweilers? I don't know. I would like to know. You know, it's never mind that you got commissioned to do it, but I want to know what you feel about this dog. Or, you know, you mentioned something which I thought was hilarious and great. When I tuned in to this Bloomz Zoom show, I think you were speaking and you said something, maybe I'm too British. And, you know, I love that. That creates, okay, what's immediate interest, and what is it when you call yourself too British? And maybe you can talk about that, and it becomes an international sales factor of sorts. You know, I mean, there's a whole horde of people who love British things, right? And there is a way an American artist would portray a Rottweiler potentially, and there's a way you as the British dog artist would portray him. And that's what you should talk about, and that's what you should potentially bring out. And I think that's more closely to what you feel potentially.
Thank you.
Okay.
Interesting. To work on all of these suggestions.
Yeah. Mac, did you have anything else you wanted to add to your?
I personally love the knife paintings, and I don't like Rottweilers either. But that painting was absolutely wonderful, and I love when you expand it and it just looks like, which I love. And then when you stand back and look at it, it just looks so precise. It's so skillful. It's amazing. I'm getting very emotional about this book. Yeah, that's the kind of thing. It's quite passionate, and I think, yeah. Why was that, Fiona? Do you think
that you were getting passionate, or that
yes,
I chose a Rottweiler?
about
Well, hopefully it's a sign that I've captured something extra in that painting. So yeah, actually, just very quick little story. My mother always said, "Oh, I don't like Rottweilers, or, you know, great big nasty dogs," sort of thing. And we were out for a walk one day, and she said, there were two of them coming the other way on a little footbridge that we were going to go across, and we just stood aside, let them come across with their owners, and she said, and they sort of looked up and wagged their tails, and, you know, and afterwards she said, "Oh, they were nice dogs. What were they?" Rottweilers. So yeah, she didn't think she liked them, but they were lovely. Well,
Fiona,
thank you ever so much. Yes.
I'd like to just ask, please, and this might be helpful to you. Briefly, can you talk about each of those paintings and tell us, you know, obviously commission, so were the dogs alive, or were they dead? You know, what was it? Which one did you really enjoy painting out of all those? You know, obviously don't go, you know, but it just might help you then for going forward as well. In my personal opinion, I would think the terrier was the one you liked to do the best. So I'd be curious to know, am I correct in that?
I don't know. I think with the dogs, I do enjoy all of them in general. The terrier, he was Chris's daughter's dog, who sadly found some tablets that contained caffeine and scoffed them and went into a coma, and sadly is no more. And in fact, I'd never actually met this little chap, but they all say that it's just him, and he's more lifelike than a photograph. So, and I think that is something that you can do with a portrait, because a photograph, although you can get that detail and preciseness and everything, precision and whatever, you can get more life into a portrait than you can get in a photograph at times. I think it's just, you know, because with a photograph, it is as is, and okay, you can play with photographs in, you know, on software and stuff, but it's not, you know, with a painting, you are emphasizing certain bits and, you know, bringing things out, like focusing on the eyes and making those seem really alive, because if the eyes work, most of the rest of the painting is going to work. So I think it is just trying to it's not just a copy, it's a copy plus emotion and plus character. I think that's what I'm aiming for with the portraits. And so far, touch wood, yeah, I've never had a portrait refused at all yet, or queried, you know, or can you change this or change that? So that's hopefully really good news. The knife one, I just love using the knives, as you know. So I thought, well, just try it with dogs and just see how it went. And I did sketch it out first, and then just worked on it, and the sketch lines get lost fairly quickly. But it's just a guide to start with. Whereas if I was just doing a landscape, I'll often not bother sketching it out, because it, you know, it's not this landscape with this tree here and that bit there, and so it's just keep referring back to photographs and that to make sure it was still sort of on track.
So was that dog alive? Was he alive when you painted him?
Yeah,
They
were actually, well, the Rottie's still alive, and when I painted the terrier, he was alive at that time as well, which I did wonder once the terrible accident happened as to whether she would still want to have the painting on her wall, you know, a bit like on Renata's thing about the anguish, but she still has it up. She just loves it. So that's good. I'm pleased that she does. The landscapes, I just, you know, I love wild places. I like empty places, you know, where I can walk for ages without seeing another person. So I don't often put people in my landscapes, because I just love nature and peace and quiet. You know, and I think, you know, something that is good for most of us these days, that we don't get enough back to nature and peace and quiet. And then Angel gets out on her walks a lot and enjoys nature, and we get to see her videos, which is great. But I think most of us don't take that time. And that's what I've been posting landscapes online. I mean, this one's only tiny. It's in its frame there, so it is only tiny coloured. It's a bit odd on the picture, but you know, it
was that. I was going to ask, was that a piece that you painted outside, or was it a piece that was out of your head that when you came back, or was it a piece from a photograph that you'd taken when you were out? Is it a particular place, and if so, why that place? What is it about that place?
Yeah, it is a particular, or was based on a particular place, and it was done from photographs and sketches, because it's in the Rockies in North America. And again, the place had good memories for me. I just love that area altogether and love walking around there. And it's, you know, over here, you don't get so many places where you can go and walk for a couple of hours without seeing anybody, whereas America's so much bigger that you can go for, you know, you can go for a 5-hour hike and not see a soul, you know, and I love beaches with virtually nobody on them, because it's just appreciating just the beach and the waves and the gulls crying and stuff. You know, to go to somewhere like Brighton Beach on a hot day and have to find a square foot of sand to sit on because all the rest of it's taken, is, to me, is just no. You know, I'd rather go and, yeah, I don't know what I'd rather do than that, but almost anything, you know. So I do like those wild, empty places, well, empty of humans, but full of nature. And I try to sort of promote that when I've put them on Facebook and things, you know, to, you know, lose yourself in it, just chill at the end of long day, just relax, imagine you're there, sort of things. So.
And out of all those paintings, which one do you think you're most proud of? Which one did you think, yeah, I really enjoyed doing that in comparison?
Well, I was proud of the wedding venue once I finished it, because it, you know, they were so pleased with it and they loved it. So, and yes, it worked in the end, which I'm not an architect, and I took it on and then thought, no, I really want to do this. But anyway, it all worked out well, and I was quite proud of it once it was finished. But apart from them and their family and friends, nobody else will see that one. I think maybe the dog more so, because I've done landscapes. Well, I've done portraits for a long time as well, but I've done a lot more landscapes with a knife. And I think the Rotti came out quite well with the, sorry, it came out well, not quite well, sorry. I think the Rotti came out very well for only a second knife painting of a dog. So
incredible.
Whether anybody will want to commission one of that style, but I'm going to be offering it as, you know, either the more realistic traditional style or the knife painting, maybe more energy type of style. So, but I think people will opt for one or the other. I don't think most people would be torn between the two.
No.
I think, you know, they either want that, you know, the more realistic, or they want the more, you know, the nice, more energy one. So, yeah.
I mean, I picked up with what Julie's saying about the building that you've done, which I just think is incredible. And, you know, and I kind of, but if that's not where you feel your heart is, then fair enough. But, you know, when I saw you there last week, all dressed in white painting, you know, I have called you, you know, I've called you Posh Spice. And I can just see that, you know, and this grand building, it's kind of, you know, I could just see that as you, but it has to be used. That's where you want to go. It's not, but that, you know, that building I just think was just incredible. But at the end of the day, if you're thinking no, you know, then, you know, then don't go down that route. But
I think I enjoy the knife painting more.
Yeah. So then that's maybe the way to go.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
That
Thank
was
you,
really
everybody.
quite helpful when you were talking in your own words. As for example, sort of sales lines online, I picked up just 4 of them, and these are your own words, but they would make a good intro story for whatever you're painting. One was Room to Roam. The other was Taking the Time, Out in Nature, and then All Good Memories. So if you just pick up on those, and you could write a paragraph, you know, in your own words, and you could start, you know, just from these experiences with these few paintings, if you can do a paragraph on each of those, I think that'd be great. And it fits, you know, many of your other paintings, but that way we're getting much closer to where you are at. And that's of interest, you the artist.
Yeah, that's the whole thing of Liam Paula, isn't it? About meeting the artist and building a connection with the artist, not just with the painting. So,
I mean, I could just see you if we had a cinematographer here, you know, do this little film sketch with you where you're the proper British, you know, everything. And then, you know, the music changes, something happens, and you go, wow, you do your...
I love it.
That would be the nice part, you know.
With
your style of painting. It just felt that.
Nice throw up.
And that's, you know, the other Fiona that we need.
yeah, throwing knives at the canvas.
Yeah.
Hopefully not sticking in it.
Excellent. Angel, did you have anything you wanted to add to what anybody had said? You're on mute, babe.
Right, yeah, I'm on mute. It's no. It's a bit crazy. I don't know whether you noticed, but the amount of times I had to go up. No, I think it's amazing. I think the thing is, what we need to know is more about Fiona herself. That's what I think is missing from there. You can see the emotion within the pieces. You can see the character of even the buildings, and that you get a sense of the grandness of the building. You get the sense of the character of the animals. But I think the icing on the cake is you coming out as well to see who you are, and I think that'll just be it. And I'll go on mute before anybody screams.
Thank you, Angel.
Yeah.
I think you said it yourself right at when we're talking, Fiona. You said somehow I need to connect back to the emotions of actually making the piece.
Yeah. I'm going to have to go through this and write everything down afterwards when Steph gets it up online for us. So thank you very much, everybody, for your feedback. And I'm going to try and take everything I can from that and build it in to me and my art business.
Just one other final maybe feedback, Fiona, which might help you as well. You know, because you're thinking, and I know this has come up quite a bit, like, gosh, do I stick to dogs? Do I stick to Bill? What, you know, and all that. Maybe think about I think what Lee and Paul are saying is go down one route because of the marketing, because if you then are doing just one, then you're marketing to one person. But so maybe plan out your year a little bit as to which areas you're going to particularly focus on. So like we've got the wedding venue coming up in the springtime, whatever. Maybe that's kind of a good time to really push, if you do want to do any more of these buildings, would be to do that. Maybe sort of August, September time, really keep pushing about the commissions. You know, do you want a gift for Christmas? Now's the time. You need to book in September. So that you're kind of breaking it up. I mean, yeah, keep obviously promoting your commissions throughout the year, but I'm saying just maybe kind of break it up into different sections so that people aren't looking 1 minute she's doing portraits, next minute she's doing whatever. I mean, I don't know if that'll help.
Mind you, of course, promoting the portraits in August, September will have to be for the following Christmas because my waiting list is going to get so long.
Good point.
No, you don't.
Absolutely. No, it will just be a truth, Fiona. It will just be a
Absolutely.
truth. Absolutely. Yeah.
So I hope, I mean, that's been really useful for me. Hopefully it might have been useful for other people as well to relate to themselves. And hopefully it will reassure people that this isn't a scary thing. And, you know, I think we'd all be happy to do this for every one of us in the group to help each other. And the more, you know, I think it's not just a case of I've learned from that today, but I think probably, you know, if I'd heard that about someone else, I would have learned from that for my own purposes as well. So don't be scared of it. I know I suggested it and I knew what I meant, but now that you've seen it, hopefully nobody's going to be scared about doing it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well done for going first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it is all about just adding to everybody, you know, there's no, and as I know Cindy was the one who was worried about not knowing about art as such other than her own art, but as I say, it's all about how we feel about things and how we see it. It's not about having knowledge of it or anything. So.
Absolutely.
For all the artists that I've spoken to, when they're actually talking about the work, they might write that for applications and things like that. They might, you know, do the arty language for official Creative Scotland, because I'm in Scotland, or Arts Council England, and those kind of applications. But when they're actually talking about the art, they just use, I love this, you know, and I really love that material, and, you know, I really wanted to try and grasp that character of that dog. And according to the owners, they actually loved it. They think I managed to succeed. I don't know what I was going with there, but never mind.
Be prepared to speak more positively and enthusiastically about my work, I think, is maybe what you were.
Yes. It's getting enthused.
And I must. Thank you.
Brilliant. Okay, fantastic. So that's all recorded, and we'll get that sent out. So certainly, Fiona, you can take your notes and everything, but everybody else, and Elisa and Cindy wanted it as well, obviously, because they couldn't be on today.
Katie's very quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm listening though.
And Anne-Marie's not with us today, is she? So
No.
she can just look on replay.
I mean, in fact, I think everybody's pretty much signed up to the process, so I think we're all interested in seeing how it looks in the reality. So that's good, brilliant. So just to really go around and see if anybody's got anything else they either want to ask or shout about or cry about, whatever we need to do today. So this time I'm going to start at the bottom with Joan.
Oh, good. Oh, thank you. Yes, I was wondering if I could have some help, please, for anyone who does licensing. Because what's happened is that I did this mug and I did this. It was a fun picture of, a fun picture of a baby basically sitting on a carpet, and the mum was running to it, and it said something. I can't remember what it said. Stay calm, you're a mum, or something like that. But about 10 months ago, I think, or 8 months ago, this lady, she bought a couple of bits from me, and she said to me that she was in the process of writing a book, and she says, and I love this picture of this baby, and can I use it to put on my book? And I wasn't really, she bought some bits and pieces off me, and I was in a good mood. Well, oh yeah, go ahead, you can. Never heard anything from her. But now this morning, she's now emailed me, and she said, you remember I wanted to use your Howling Baby cartoon from one of your mugs I purchased. She says it's to do with her forthcoming book about World War II bomb babies, of which she was one of them. She was nearly 3 years of age. So I'm assuming, during the war, she was a baby, okay? She says, I photographed your mug, but been round it. It's not come out. Can I have a flat thing, and flat copy, even of the baby? I will pay for your work and postage and packaging. If not, I'll do my best from the mug picture from your mug. I don't know what to say. Has anyone got any ideas? What do I do?
Yeah, let me check with Steve, just only because when we do our books, sometimes we have to use people's art for the front of the cover and things like that. And specifically the last book we did for Mary Lasty in America, she'd seen a sculpture that she loved and she wanted it on the front of the book, so we had to go to the artist and say, can we use it? There's a fee for that. And in this case, you always ask the question, which is, where's it going? In this case, it was actually on a lecture book for a university, as opposed to J.K. Rowling,
Yeah.
So, but there's a fee, and I'm pretty sure we sort of ended up, it was like about £500, something like that, to actually use it in the end. Yeah. Yeah.
Does it depend on the expected circulation as well?
It can do. I mean, in her case, she hadn't got a clue because she'd never done it before. And so Steve made an offer of an amount, and then she came back and said, oh, how about, and so they agreed on 500. But that's why I say, if it was J.K. Rowling asking to use it, it would have to be up, because it's going to go everywhere. But I'm assuming this lady, she's just writing a book herself, which is going, yeah. And the question is, you ask, is this is for the publication in this country? Like, is it going global? Is this an online thing? What is it? Because in this case with Mary Lasty, it was actually just being published in America, and that was what the license is for. If she then decides to go in other countries or do an e-version, there will be another fee on top for that.
Thank you for that. I'm so glad I've asked now. Yeah, thank you for that.
Okay. And because I say it's all down to country, because I know when Steve had his gardening book out donkeys years ago, and then someone licensed, turn it into Russian and Chinese and all sorts. That had to be licensed per country, and everything. And they always saw what it looked, someone always sent the proof through them so they could actually see what the things look like. So it's even worth saying that you'd like to see how she's actually using it. But yeah, I'll check with Steve about any details for you, Joan, if I've got anything else.
Oh, you're a star.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And also,
That's my information. I don't know if anybody else has had any.
well, no, but just that the copyright is the property of the artist.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Go by the copyright. That's the whole thing about a license. You're just licensed to use it. You're not licensed.
Yeah.
You don't own the copyright.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There is a way of turning it around too, for like, smaller things. So if you don't suspect this person to be totally famous yet, where you specify from the front what the number of publications that you're licensing for. And so you could give them your own tier structure, basically, up to 500, it's this, and above that, up to 10,000, it's this, etc. So that way you don't just know all that information. That's the way you're charging.
I'm sure there is an example out there, because I know when we had to go to an agency to get permission for an artist who's dead, basically, so they have to then go and get it from the family, and there they had a tier structure like Renata was saying, and you had to say how many books were being actually, because that's the thing with physical publishing, you're actually going to print that many books, and it's only if you go back and do another reprint that you might have to go back to them and get it extended. But yeah,
so what I've noticed that for some books that are published, that if they are republished in another country, sometimes the illustration or the photograph on the front changes.
Yeah, because they don't get the license to do it in the other countries.
Yeah.
I think
so for an ebook, would you then be thinking of charging more because it's potentially going global?
Wider, yeah.
You have no control over it, basically. Then.
Yeah. So you want to charge more for that?
Okay, crikey, and I was giving this to her for free.
Yeah.
Not
nothing's free, Joan, nothing. Yeah.
Thanks for this, guys. Yeah, really appreciate it. Thank you. Yes.
Cool. But cool that she wants to use it though, Joan.
Pardon?
Cool that she wants to use it though. Oh, Angel, you off. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, cool that she wants to use it in a book though, Angel. So yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and she's bought a few bits and pieces. She's been very good. Like she bought a little robin from me and she put on a review there. So she's been very supportive, and because of that, I just said, oh yeah, go ahead, because it's only from what I can gather, she's just kind of written this book on the side. It's just a little thing. I mean, she sounds like she's well into her 70s, and it's kind of her memoir probably. So
but it could go viral.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it's perfectly all right for you to ask her these questions, actually, to ask, because normally the licensing gets done by the publisher. And so, they have their own rules. They have ready-made set things that you're supposed to sign, contracts for release and all of that. So just ask her, what if she's self-publishing or not.
I think she might be, but
you may not know, and maybe she, and you certainly want something in writing potentially, it might be a bestseller, who knows? But I mean, and then to decide basically, what do you want out of it? It's fair. I mean, you want something out of it, but you want to make money with it or not, and this is just, so some people give their things away for $20. I was at one time prepared to give mine away for a book cover for nothing, and then decided not to use it at the end. But I thought that would be good advertising. Or what I want to insist on is that my name gets attached to it. So
you need credit.
You should be credited. You should be credited as well. That should be in the contract, isn't it? That you're going to be credited for it.
Yeah, she did say that. Yeah, she would credit me.
And you could insist on that, by contract, and then be done with it and be happy about that. So, it's all.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be nice if she was famous, like, but
Yeah.
yeah,
You never know, Joan.
She might be famous once she's published it.
Absolutely.
okay.
They
Cheers
could
for
be his mum or something, couldn't it? We don't know.
I mean, do you remember that book that was on TV, and it was that guy kept searching for that book about fishing or something? And they
Fly
actually,
fishing.
Partly, yeah.
that's the one. And they actually published a book. You opened it completely blank inside.
Yeah.
And you know, so I mean, she's actually written something. So who knows? It could take off.
Yeah.
So you need to allow for that in the contract.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Love.
Will do. Thank you.
Anything else, Joan, that you want to?
No, I finally got back and took my paintbrush out, and I've been painting while, you know, I've been very productive today. So I've just been, I'll show you, I've been painting these to go on mugs. So anyone who likes cats,
Oh,
dog.
gorgeous.
Oh,
So yeah, that's what I
Great.
did today. So I'm feeling good because I've been trying to paint the bedroom for the last 2 days, and still kind of, that's a mess up there. So I'm staying up here.
No. I loved your sales post recently where you put up about the limited edition and also the original was available.
Oh yeah, did you see? Yeah.
I thought perfect. Because,
Absolutely.
yeah, I loved it because I could immediately think, oh, actually, you know, I'd like the original, or oh, no, okay, I'll have. But I thought it was brilliant. Well done.
And I didn't, you know, I've took your advice, Steph. There's 2 bits of advice you've given me. One is that it's not reasonable. You know, it's not. You can't get it. It's what was it? What did you say? Not afford. I didn't put the word affordable.
No,
So I didn't do that. And when I did the last fair, when I start talking to people and I thought, no, Steph said shut up, so I'll shut up. I don't remember if they bought anything or not, but I did shut up, okay? So I do listen to you.
Oh,
Leave
dear.
them.
I
Just
love
let them just, you know, I'll just glorify in the look of it.
absolutely.
Yeah. It is hard because people looking at you think, oh God, I better talk. No. So I've learned to shut up, and it isn't reasonable. Price.
No,
Not affordable.
you haven't.
No.
Yeah, you haven't done it affordable so they can afford to buy
No,
it.
affordable has come out of my vocabulary. So there you go. So yeah.
Perfect. Love
In
it.
there.
Excellent.
Oh,
Excellent.
so thank you.
So Fiona, have you got anything else you want to add today on with
I
everything?
feel like I've taken up lots of the time, but we're going to, hopefully it's a benefit to all of us. And hopefully it'll be a benefit because I've got I said I'd been invited, or they'd inquired about having me on this woman's regular sort of talk thing. And I've got just a telephone interview with 2 of them on next Thursday. Yeah, next Thursday. Just you know, so it's not guaranteed it will go ahead until obviously they want to, you know, check me out to make sure I'm not going to be a dork and ruin their afternoon. Hopefully, if I can really focus on the feedback from today, that will hopefully get and sort of do some practicing, you know, maybe bore Chris silly with talking about my work. Then hopefully I'll come across well and get on the actual thing itself. So, and other than that, still keeping on with the commissions, but I was working on one this morning and my back started aching, so I thought, no, I'm just going to sit here today and also focus on what people were saying. So I haven't been as productive as Joan today, but never mind.
Oh,
Well, not
God,
during the call.
Yeah, no.
So
You're far more
that's-
productive than me.
I think that's it for me. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Sammy,
No, I think
what do you mean nothing?
that's it.
But what about that amazing painting that looks like it's just sculpted? It's so 3D. It's amazing.
I haven't finished it yet. I've got a bit more to do on that. But thank you. But other than that, no, nothing.
Nothing.
Oh, is that your cat?
It is.
Dog?
Cat, it's Jenny.
Is it a dog?
I couldn't see because he's in the corner.
You're funny.
Dogs, cats, both have got ears.
Yeah.
Oh.
Bless. Okay. Julie.
I guess, yeah, yeah, I'm obviously wrapping things up at the moment, and I think you just think about what you said, Stephanie, about Julie can't let it go yet, but
Oh no, don't.
no, I don't mean it in that way.
Okay.
But as an example, I need to wrap this stuff up because I've got this wax article coming out, and we were hoping it was in time for Christmas, but it's not. It's going to be sometime next year, so I need to make sure I've got my whole platform there so that when that does come out, that's going to be done. So hence online courses, free 5-day classes, all that kind of thing. So I'll be doing lots of lives and just sort of finishing. I've got thousands of pounds worth of stock, well, not thousands, but high hundreds of pounds worth of stock in my studio that I need to sell on and move on as well. And I won't be going forward with it going forward. So if you see things that particularly resonate, or if something really doesn't make sense, just drop me a message and say, I really didn't get that. Or, you know, if it really does and it's really good and you can think of anybody. So for example, teenagers through to grandparents and people who think they're not creative. I've got some Christmas card making videos that I'm going to start sharing. I've got a free 5-day course, but there's people that it will really help. And in terms of art therapy and mindfulness and wellness, it's really, really good for that as well. So if you see that kind of thing and you think, actually, you know what, that'd be perfect for that person, then maybe just tag them or share it, or if it's equally, if it doesn't make sense, I'm very good at, be like Joan's saying, shut up sometimes, and just I need do one that it's not making sense, just drop me a message, anybody, and say, do you know what, I was completely lost with that. If you just said that and shared that link, that would have made more sense. So I'd really appreciate any of that kind of feedback. So
But I think we all have our little foibles, don't we, when we talk like the work. I remember talking to Lee and Paula saying that she always says certain words all the time, and we all have, don't we, certain things. But yeah. I think the moment someone says to you, oh, you say that a lot, it makes it worse. And yes. Because you now think, I mustn't say that, and you're either sitting thinking, I don't know what to say now because I can't say that word. That we feel you keep just thinking, not going to say it. And I just don't think, you know, I think you're better off just, aren't you, being yourself anyway?
Blathering with it. Yeah, absolutely. I'm not going to try and mold myself into anybody else, into anything else. You know, I am what I am. But yeah, if something comes across really well, or if it comes across as like, you completely lost me. I know what encaustic wax is. Most people haven't got a freaking clue, and they look at me like you're painting with what, you know, like Jane said about the candles, you know, that kind of thing. So yeah, if it really doesn't make sense to an outsider, because at the minute it's not converting into as many sales as I want. So if it's...
Well, it was interesting actually, you with the iron, because that's the first time, because I've seen you do your work before, but the pieces have always been quite a long way along, and then you've just said, oh, I've added something. So to see you actually doing that picture with the iron, I thought, oh, and I hadn't really realised that you could do it. I think I thought you must get brushes and put it on or something.
Yeah,
really
well, you can do. That's what I say, it's a really broad subject, but I used to do an awful lot of those before I've been doing this for the last 7, 8, 9 years, so I've got an awful lot of people and followers that have been following me all the way through, so I don't want to just cut them off and say, right, that's it, I'm only focusing on this going forward. I feel like I need to kind of wrap and you know, that whole thing up, plus I've still got stuff that's coming out next year, but yeah, that's, I've got this sort of mismatch, but yeah, anyway, hopefully that makes sense. But yes, you can. It's the most versatile material ever. So a complete beginner who can't draw a straight line can get something massive out of it. A really experienced artist, it's a really challenging medium to work with as well. So there's sort of both ends.
So going forward, you're going to be doing your portraits.
Yeah, going forward next year, that is my plan for the Bloomz exhibition. So that's when I keep sort of peeking at saying things are changing. That's what I'm going to be doing, larger scale and more like emotive, just not necessarily a portrait of a person, but a feeling is where I'm getting to. And that goes back to the mastery work that I'm doing of who am I, what do I want to paint for. So I've got all those layers going on at the same time. So I'm still sort of formulating exactly who am I and who do I want to be and what do I want to do. But I know that I need to wrap this up before I can move on to the next thing. So yeah, it will be larger scale, portraiture, emotional paintings of some description.
Sounds fabulous.
Really, I tell you one thing I was very impressed about. I actually put you in the same bracket as Posh Spice, was when you got your iron, right? You got your iron, left the candelabra in the corner.
Yeah.
You got your wax, and you start, sexually rubbing it along. And then what did you do? You showed off your nails, and your blooming nails were the same colour as the wax. And I
I
thought,
did
my
them
God,
especially. Did you notice?
I thought, there she goes. That's my girl. I said, oh, this is what you do.
My fingers shocking. I thought I can't go to. I've got to go and do a live today, and I thought I'm going to paint my nails before I go because I've actually melted them all with the iron because I went up before they'd fully dried. But yeah, I won't tell you.
Let's see which wax am I going to use. Oh, I'll use this one. Oh, I'll use.
Oh, there you go. Your favourite colour.
So well done. So there is a bit of competition now between you and Fiona. I'm telling you which one. Posh boys.
But don't look at my nails.
Oh,
So, yeah,
Anyway,
well
that's
done.
me.
okay,
Thank you.
love it. Mac, anything you want to?
Just got news that my brother's going through some more chemotherapy.
Oh,
So that's not good. Yeah, so feeling a bit sad today and obviously worried about him. Yeah.
fair enough.
Best wishes.
Yeah.
Yeah, big hugs.
Sorry to hear that.
Sad. So that's kind of taken up your mind space at the moment, I guess.
Absolutely. Just kind of, yeah, dealing with that.
Okay, cool. Renata, do you have anything you want to share or?
I actually had to just pull it back up again on my email. Lest it was a dream last night. I woke up to looked at a mail message that I got via my website. So they don't actually have my web address. They write to me on the website. It says, hi there. We are proud owners of your watercolor Madeira waters. This goes way back 3-4 years probably. Gifted to us by our son and daughter-in-law who live in New Brunswick a few Christmases ago. We used the original mat in having it framed, and it hangs in our living room in Kingston, Ontario. I'm assuming it is the original unless you do outstanding prints. In any case, I don't do prints, so it's the original. My husband and I continue to enjoy this piece. Thanks, Anne Marie. Oh.
Oh,
Nice.
From, who knows? I don't know this. I don't really remember. I have to look up this painting. I have a vague idea which one it was. And I'm thinking to myself, what's wrong with me? I mean, first I said, okay, I got to respond to them and, say something and say, opportunity, sell something else. And then I go right into I don't have enough work. I'm not productive enough. It's like looking at this year. I'm trying to get my calendar together to identify 12 paintings. And I don't even have rules that I can't use an old picture again. Well, I've given away my last calendar last year. And usually I keep ones. I know which paintings are in there. Well, I always gift every year to the post office a calendar. So I finally went to the post office, took their calendar they had, made pictures, gave it back, and now I'm ready to do my calendar. But I'm having a hard time because I had a weird year apparently. Instead of full-fledged paintings, I was really doing a lot of experimental little drawings, illustrations. I went full in the marketing, with Paul. And so now I'm in this anti-marketing mode almost, being contrarian and everything. I'm kind of, let's get back to this productive phase. Just the paintings. And so since I can obviously do only one thing at a time, I'm kind of trying to say, okay, maybe I should look at this and what did people buy in the past. And it's a weird cycling I'm going through. And, you know, it being November, we've had a hot spell here. It's all of a sudden it's 20 degrees. And I'm thinking, oh, I can go out still. And, you know, we had already below freezing. It's just weird and wild. So I guess I'm still trying to do everything, but I got to respond to this lady, obviously. And it was a really nice thing. And it's like, I'm going through this, why me, why now? Who are these people? And, you know, instead of just taking it, and I did do one little productive thing when I went out to town from my self-isolation, and I stopped by the local art center about an hour's drive away, and they talked me into participating into their Deck the Halls thing. And they said, oh yeah, you know, we were, and it usually is a big deal. And I said, I really should, but again, I didn't have enough artwork, I thought. So I filled out the paperwork, and just that commitment that I'm going to give them 3 pieces in a month. I produced these funky little things on wood, you know, that I used also to do more Facebook promotion. But it wasn't, well, I did the final one I did on sheds and houses, so that's kind of consistent. And I had no idea how to price these. So I went kind of low midland. It's not something, you know, I can even buy a tube of paint with, but I got them done. It wasn't about that. So it was about getting them done, getting them delivered yesterday, and dropped them off. So at least I'm officially in the Christmas show, or the Deck the Halls show. But I wasn't going to do any of that, you know, until I had 2 or 3 more paintings. And I do want to do these paintings. And so I'm kind of like, each week, what's coming up? And it's doctor's appointments, people calling. I did instead, this is always productive for other things. I did do my housework, and I'm going officially on a keto diet, and I'm going shopping for it today.
Okay.
Because I decided, okay, is that going to make me happy? No, what I really need to do, looking at the year, is I gotta, since I can only do one thing, I gotta lose weight. Never mind the marketing, never mind the thing. I gotta be in condition by next, for $39 I could sign up for keto. And they promised to get me to a point by next April, my birthday, where I can be 70 pounds lighter. And I decided that's what I'm doing.
Fantastic.
Wow.
So it's, you know, that's kind of my next commitment. So never mind Paula, if I'm in the path of losing weight and painting, you know, while I'm doing that. But cooking, basically it involves a lot of cooking for yourself. So that's what I'm doing, instead of just, you know, concentrating on painting, thinking whatever's in the refrigerator goes in my mouth. I'm gonna do, you know, what they say exactly, recipes, easy to follow. So I'm hoping that'll have some results.
Good for you.
I will see you in April with you know,
Yeah,
less of that.
cool.
But it's all about feeling better, you know, and I think that'll make me feel better.
Yeah.
Good.
So that's my news.
Excellent.
You know,
I
I'm still, art still has payoffs years later, basically. You do some small thing and meet some people 5 years, then they decide, you know, their parents will decide to write to you, which is wonderful.
Oh, that's great.
absolutely
Brilliant. Excellent.
can. Oh, okay.
Sorry, Mac, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I know I just said about my brother, but a good thing about my work is that I'm going to use gold and proper gold gilding with my chewing gum pieces. So
Wow.
it'll be interesting.
Yeah. Oh, I look forward to seeing that.
Yeah, so do I.
I'm really into the gold as well. I've had gold leaf around. I've even silver leaf. I lost at various times the special paste that goes with it, and I've watched YouTube videos. I've tried it on my own, but other than using foil gold, and I always love it. It's great. So I'm looking forward to see what you do with it. It's a lot of
my work. It's not always, what you might expect.
well, it's really hard to work with. That's all I know of.
Yeah.
And
I get that kind of feeling, but I'm kind of drawn to it.
Yeah.
Excellent. Look forward to that, Mac. Excellent. Katie, have you got anything you want to add? Oh.
No, I haven't got anything, thanks.
So you sold your sheep?
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I had someone from America get in touch before I finished and say, can I have first dibs on the sheep? Did I tell you this last time? Oh yeah, sorry.
So then you said
Well, anyway, her medical bills have turned out to be rather larger. We are so lucky we've got the NHS, aren't we?
Yes,
in the meantime, day before yesterday, while I was driving along, I heard my phone going ping, 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 and I just had to pull over to see what it was. And it was the actual owner of the sheep saying, I'm sure I can't afford it, but how much is it?
Wow.
And when I told her, she was just like, yes, I'm going to buy it. I said, oh, well, somebody else wants it. But if they don't buy it, I'll get back to you. So it was nice to be able to come back to her yesterday and say, oh, you can have Fatty. Yeah.
Excellent. Well done.
Thanks. Yeah.
That actually reminds me, I did mean to ask you, Stephanie, if you had heard at all from Leslie Wilcox and the lady.
Yeah.
They received their painting, because I was really worried, and it's been like 5 weeks since I mailed.
I know Bronnie received it because it was a present for her husband Arthur, and I know she received it and said to Steve how lovely it was, and she was very happy. I haven't specifically asked Leslie, but he would have said if he hadn't. But
okay,
we've been doing other stuff, so
okay.
I will double check.
Yeah, that's because I tried to track it, and then I ended up online. Just it showed like it was still in Montreal, and just got stuck there. But then I went to the post office, and they say it arrived at the post office in England. So at the postal code, but I don't know if it was delivered, and it would be really nice to know.
I will confirm that for you.
There.
I'll go find out.
Thank you. Thank you. Really appreciate it. And I hope they like it. That's always another fear with all this. But most of all, I want to know that it got there in good condition. So.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I will find out for you. No problem at all.
So for everybody, the surface option to America or Canada in this case is at least 6 weeks. If you mail something with the lowest tier, and for that big size of painting, it costs $145.
Wow.
The next tier would probably be better, but that was always close to $200. So, but these are Canadian dollars too, so it's 30% less than American.
Cool. Excellent.
Steph.
Yeah, so my only update is that through the course I've decided to add colour to my pieces, but not just that. I've also decided that I'm going to, in each piece, as kind of almost like a signature thing, I'm going to add a piece of solid silver, which could be like a little claw, or it could be like a little tooth or something like that within the piece. I've had this stuff with silver for ages, and I've just not done anything with it. And when I decided I was going to do my colourful, sort of more reflective pieces, I thought, you know, I can add anything in. And the thing that I'm going to do, which is going to be my central piece, because obviously my kestrel is about to disappear, is I'm going to do a phoenix.
Wow.
And I'm going to do copper and things with it as well, not just, so I'm going to go, wow.
Exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Mm.
I keep playing around with all this colour and running down to the den. Woo, colour.
Steph, why a phoenix? Is it because you're rising from the phoenix, or
Well,
is there
no,
a symbol?
To be honest with you, there's going to be different areas. So there's going to be one area which is I'm going to call reflections, which is just animals and how you kind of reflect the colours off the landscapes onto them, and that will be the colour. And then one of the areas is going to be endangered or extinct animals. So that's where your dodos and all that lot are going to come in. And then the other area is going to be more legends and things. And that's where the phoenix comes in. Now, I've always loved the phoenix. I've actually got a metal phoenix in the garden that an artist did for me, which I adore. I do love the idea of us, we're all, you know, every time we, as artists, don't we almost completely renew ourselves continually about what we're doing and not doing. So I think it's very apt. But I also just love this idea that no one really knows what it looks like. I may actually even give him a gold beak. I don't know yet. Yeah. That'll be gold leaf, not solid
Phoenix
gold.
is mentioned a lot recently. I think that's lovely.
Yeah.
So is it only because you like the phoenix, you suddenly thought, you know, that's what I'm going to do? Or
no, I've had it in my head to do one for ages, but because I've been so concentrating on real animals and real this and exactly what it looks like and, you know, that thing, I've never really allowed myself to completely go in that direction. But now that I'm completely giving myself over to anything and putting anything in, everything, you know, and it comes into I could now do it justice, because I don't have to just use wool, and I don't have to, you know, I can paint it, add anything I want to it, add metal to it, everything. So yeah,
I do gold as well.
I look forward to seeing it. Is this going to be, it won't be ready for January, will it?
No, that's what Steve said. Will that be ready for January? God, no.
I think so, but you know.
For January, I'm going to launch my reflections range. So that's why I'm getting all those pieces together now, so that in January at our show, that's when I will actually go,
So. I just ask, how many new pieces are people providing for January?
God knows.
It depends how many I do.
2.
With the commissions that I've got, I may not have any new landscapes or anything. So
my goal is 3 new ones, bigger ones.
So I don't know. It just depends what I end up producing. Really. But I suppose I wasn't giving myself a number. But at least 3. I would hope to do. But see, I've got a few halfway through where I've kind of not finished them because I've had this kind of block, not understanding where the block was, and now I know what the block was. I can now go ahead and finish them, so it's not like I'm starting all of them from scratch. So. But meanwhile, I've got to finish the hummingbird, so
yeah.
What about you, Sammy? How many of you? She's probably saying, I've got about 10 of them here. Got to check with us just in case, you know.
Yeah, no, I've written loads of essays, but I've only started 3 at the moment. I've only got 3 on the go. I don't know how long it'll take to finish them.
That's the thing.
Because of the first event, we all had a big stock, didn't we already? Waiting, and I don't know whether to put them in on my new film or what. I don't know.
Don't forget that some people might come back and think, oh, I like that one last time. Yeah, I'm going to buy it.
Yeah, the thing is, you're not. It's not that you can't show your other pieces. It's just that you might be launching this 1, 2, or 3. This is like the I'm showing you these.
Bye,
Katie.
See you. Bye.
Bye.
I gotta go too. Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
You may have just one piece that you're launching, you know, saying, well, this is the first time anyone's seen this piece at the show, but you're also showing the other pieces. Number one, there are lots of people which didn't actually come and haven't seen it, but if you put it in a new reel anyway, in a different way, it doesn't matter, does it?
Because also I'm going to keep them off my website until the show. I'm not going to attach them to the website.
Yeah.
And I'm only like showing snippets of or close-ups of paintings that I'm doing at the moment.
Great idea. Tease them.
I noticed someone was interested in your sketches, Sammy.
I know. And day before, one of Philip's subcontractors were having building work done at the house. Was talking about one of my sketches, and he said, "How much?" I went, "It's a sketch."
Steve, Mr. Salesman, he saw that and went, "Why didn't she sell it?" I said, "Well, I don't think she's done the painting yet, babe. I think, she needs to."
No.
He was like, no.
But no, even it's like those silly 2-3 minute sketches in the Inktober. So they wanted one of those, and I said, "But it's like this big."
Well, everybody's been selling them, haven't they? Angel's been selling hers. Deb in America, been selling all hers, so you should sell them. In fact, I think Angel even did a little movie thing, didn't she? Yeah, sell them.
Yeah. So I said he can come and have a look next week, see which one he wants. He can go through the sketchbook and I'll just rip them out. But it's so silly because like I've sold a sketch when I do a big painting, I do a smaller painting first and I sketch it out, and someone came to look at a painting and they bought that painting and then they said, "Oh, what's that?" And I said, "Oh, it's just a sketch." "Well, how much is it?"
God.
Yeah.
So I said, "Oh, I really don't know. I need to get it framed and this, that, and the other." I was like putting them off because it caught me off guard.
Yeah.
And they came to my open house and they bought it for £300.
Yeah.
What? It was a sketch.
Yeah.
Oh,
You can have that as a really good thing. You don't let them go until the final painting is done.
Yeah.
You can have it, you can buy it, but it's not released until, and then you've kind of got your sketch plus your medium-sized one and your big one.
Yeah. Wow, fantastic.
Absolutely. That's
brilliant.
Someone called today, they bought a painting 2 years ago and they said, "Oh, we saw on Instagram you have essays." Well, they knew I had essays prior, but obviously didn't take it in. They said, "Can we have the essay for our painting?" And he said, "How much is it?" And I said, "Oh no, you just have the essay because it's part of the painting." So I'll type that up. But they were prepared to pay for my scrappy writing.
Why didn't you charge them?
Got for saleable items there.
But you can't do that. Look, it's just scrappy writing. But I type it out now.
That's part of your process.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yes, lady, you will need to have a word with you.
The other way to look at that is that your essay, which you have to do anyway for your painting, is an added value. So it makes people feel really special that you're adding that value to it as opposed to charging for everything. It's and then they're maybe more likely to come back for something else, because that's the other thing. You don't discount your work, but you can think about ways to add value to it. So whether that's some cards of that image that they can send to their friends, or or the essay, or even a preparatory sketch. For the other course I did before I started with Lee and Paula, she would do a coffee table book. I mean, she charged a lot for the commission, but she would do a coffee table book with all the sketches and thoughts and notes and everything as added value to the commission, but she wouldn't discount the commission at all. So it makes people feel, well, okay, that she didn't discount it and pay full price, but look what we're getting as well. It's something, it's maybe not something you always want to charge for the little extras. It can be something that's an added bonus.
I do a little video that goes with my sculptures, which especially if I'm asking them to pay and they haven't actually seen it, where I put up all the sort of like in between sketches, and even when it looks ugly type thing, and it gets to the point it's which they always love. And then they always say to me, oh, please use that in your marketing type thing, because they're just so proud of it, which is so sweet. But even so, I would say maybe include the essay as a part of it, because that's something really, really attached to them. But your sketches sell separate. That's a whole other piece of art, darling. No, I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Seriously.
I need to go. Sorry, girls.
Okay, Julie.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Julie.
I think also it's recognizing that they do have value.
Yeah.
Your process is valuable.
It is. Yeah.
How big, out of interest, how big was the sketch? You know,
The sketch,
A4
it
size?
was, no, it was 50 by 50.
Okay, it's quite big then.
Not, well, not compared to the size that I paint, but
Yeah, but it's still quite big.
yeah.
It's a picture in itself.
Yeah.
You didn't do it on the back of
Yeah, but do you know, it was just like on the floor in the corner of my studio, because it was just one of, that's one done, that's sketch done.
Move on.
That's what I'm working on, you know, because then I'd completed the final piece.
Well, can I give you a tip then? In future, if anyone's about to turn up to your place, can you make sure you don't leave the bloody thing on the floor? Just have it wrapped in nice tissue and, you know, over in the corner. Not on the floor in the corner. The cat sitting on it, you know. Come on, bud, you shift over. You can buy this.
Up against it. Yeah.
You know, come on, girl.
In fact, I would actually put that up as a thing, as Fiona said, the essay is an added thing, but I'd also say, and the sketches are available as an added thing. In fact, Paula only mentioned it the other day about her art, that she offers the sketches as a package on top, and most people buy them
As an extra.
Wow.
as extra. Extra. Yeah.
And money.
So it's a known thing. Yes.
Okay.
Funny, I don't sketch. I kind of dive right in normally. I don't have sketches. I'm too impatient. I just want to get on with it, you know, and I just, and I should sketch, because, you know, the amount of times you do it and then it's wrong. Like, I'm just here trying to sketch a blooming chicken and I'm thinking, oh, it's not right. Whereas I should have actually probably sketched it properly, but I get really impatient. I just want to get in and get on with it.
Well, the thing
So it's funny how the difference.
Yeah, we all have our own process. It's like I said when I was doing the hummingbird, because I just wanted to get it clear with Mary what I was actually doing. I did a little sketch. Now I can't bloody draw, you see, so it's a bit of a, you know, negative really. So I did my basic sketch, and she was like, no, perfect, everything. And you think, oh great, that obviously what I can do is enough to actually get across that this is going to be the bird and this is where the flower's going to be, type thing. But you say, once again, I thought, Jesus, what a shit thing that is. And then Leslie and Damo came and they were saying, what are you doing for Mary? And I said, oh, I won't show you the sketch because it's so embarrassing. And they were like, no, show us. And they were like, oh my God, we think that's an amazing. It isn't, it's shit. But for them, they think it's amazing, you know, and you think, oh, whatever then, right, I'm going to stop telling people now it's shit. I'll actually say, little, or here's the naive sketch.
Have you seen Tracy Emin's drawings?
No.
She's professor of drawing at the RA, and she sells them in the RA summer exhibition, and the prints.
Are they? Oh.
Shit.
I'm gonna have a look now because it might make me feel good.
Well,
What's her name?
the prices as well, you know, I mean, just like,
Well, that's all down to being a name, isn't it?
yes.
Yeah.
The whole,
What's her name?
Tracy Emin.
Tracy Emming.
Emin, E-M-I-N.
All right.
Bed, petite.
Yeah, bed.
Yes, the unmade bed.
Yeah.
And the
that
tent.
one.
Yeah.
And the tent with
This is
all the
tough.
names of her lovers embroidered on it.
Oh.
Ah, what a tart. No, can't be bothered. No. Won't even waste my time. Sod that.
But take a look at her drawings, though.
Yeah, I will do. I will do. And have a look.
Yeah.
But
This better be worth it. Yeah.
Getting yourself known, isn't it? So, yeah. Cool.
So much bullshit with art, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not with us. Not with us.
No, we're good. Excellent.
Oh, look, the state of her sitting there. Good God. Too posh to wash. Honestly. Oh, look, she's got a face mask on, trying to look posh. She got cancer, has she?
Yeah.
Oh, has she?
Sadly.
I didn't know that.
I
She's
didn't
had
know that.
practically all her female bits taken out.
Oh,
Oh
Bless
gosh.
Yeah, that she's hoping to make it to Christmas, but
oh
they're
my
not sure
God.
if she will.
Oh, I had no idea
So
about that.
they're doing an exhibition. It's on at the moment, but obviously no one can go and see it, of her recent works while she's been in recovery.
Wow.
Oh, I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
No, that's not nice. Bless her.
But,
And to
yeah.
be honest, if I could have had the success she's had by being promoted by Saatchi or whoever, then
Yeah. would have
great.
been- Yeah.
But
absolutely.
it's not worth it when
Bloody awful, if you ask me.
That's a new one, isn't it? That one.
God only knows.
There
Not
you
my
go.
kind of stuff.
Horses for courses, Joan. They sell for a lot of money, you know.
They do.
I'm all for, people love that. That's brilliant, but that's not, I'm never going to do that myself, but hey.
I'll briefly tell you a very quick story that I was reading in this little book. I can't think what the book is, but anyway, it's a true story about this woman who was in America, and she went down to the shops. You know the way in America they have these brown paper bags when they buy the food, the groceries. So she got a bag of food, whatever, and on the way back she decided to go in and have a look at the latest art gallery, whatever was on. So she went in, put the bag down, and start looking around.
I know.
Yeah.
It was a piece of art. Yeah.
She was all looking around, and the next minute she looked over and thought, "Oh God, there's a crowd of stuff," and people were all standing around this bag of food. Look how the tomato ketchup is positioned against the bottle of wine. Definitely, the artist was thinking that she was going to have kind of tomato and wine for tonight's meal. So she said she just went in, picked the bag up, and walked out. So much bullshit. It's like with wine. They ended up getting a group of people together and said, "This is the latest wine. This is the Queen. This is what the Queen drinks. What do you think?" And they were drinking it, and they were saying, "Oh, doesn't it have a bit of this and a bit of that and all the rest?" And then they said, "Actually, it's vinegar you're drinking."
It's Emperor's new clothes, isn't it? Which is everyone goes along with whatever anybody else is saying, rather than what that. Yeah.
Do you know what? If they want to say that about my work, I don't mind.
Yeah. If they want to say that Marvel Theatres and give me that amount of money, crack on. Yeah. Absolutely.
Does make you wonder.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay, well that's brilliant. Thank you, Fiona, for being
Yes, thank you, Fiona.
first person up and everything.
Welcome.
It was really good, and I have, as you say, learned stuff from that as well. It'd be really good going forward and from everybody. So
Yeah.
lovely.
So we're a week on Saturday for the next one.
Yeah. I shall
Good.
put a little post up, as it were. Yeah.
Put it in my calendar.
So have a good rest of the day. We've got a Lee and Paula tonight at 7 o'clock, and Elisa is in the hot seat tonight.
Yes, fabulous.
Because they're doing a thing on LinkedIn. And when Lisa had her power hour at the very start, they said they would probably use her as an example of how to set up your LinkedIn page. So they'll be doing Elisa as an example, showing how to set up your LinkedIn. So go and have a look at Lisa's LinkedIn page after this, because you might. But yeah, so Lisa's in the hot seat tonight, so I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, brilliant. Well, I hope you have a great time.
Yeah.
Think of us poor plebs who can't afford the course,
Okay, ladies, I'll
Brilliant.
see you later.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.